Okay, there are only two ways of winning in chess, and I'm going to teach you the main way of winning in chess, which is using a checkmate. The only other way of winning in chess is by your opponent giving up or quitting on you. But the only way that you can actually win a game and you're going to force a win is by causing a checkmate. Now, a checkmate is a position where the king is in check. So we're going to talk about the two main questions that we're going to ask. So first question, is the king in check? If the king is in check and we say yes, then we're halfway there. Now then we have to answer the second question. The second question would be, can the king get out of check? If that answer is no and the king cannot get out of check and he's in check, then that is a checkmate and the game is over. The moment that the king is in checkmate, the game is over and you have won the game. So in this position right here, we're going to talk about the powers of the pieces and how can we cause a checkmate. Remember, I'm going to repeat the question again. Question number one, is the king in check? We have to first put a king in check and make sure that he is in danger. We want to make sure that the king is in absolute danger. So one way that we can get a check is by moving this rook right here. So we're going to ask question number one, is the king in check? And in this position, yes. The rook is attacking the king right here. The rook can go up and down and side to side. So the rook can attack this king right here. Now the king is in check. Now we're going to ask the second question. What is the second question? Can the king get out of check? In this position, the king can get out of check. The king can move to either these two squares right here. He can move to these two squares right here. He cannot move to this square, and this square because this rook is attacking those squares right there. So this is not a checkmate. Even though if the king is in check, the king can still walk away, get out of check this way. Now, we're going to go back and reset the position. Now we need to find a checkmating move. So one of the checkmating moves is, let's look at it. The attacking lines of this rook is going this way and is going up and down. And also this rook is going this way and is going up and down. So how can I get all the attacking lines to surround the king to make sure that he is in check and cannot get out of check? So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to move this rook from h3 to h1, and this here, I'm going to draw the line right here. This here is a check. This rook is attacking this entire row. So the king is in check. So question number one, is the king in check? Yes, the king is in check. The rook is attacking the king, and the king cannot run to these two squares by the circle. Now, could the king run over here? No, the king cannot run over here because these three squares are being attacked by this rook. So we're going to draw the attacking lines of this rook. So we have two attacking lines right here, one by this rook and one by this rook. And the king cannot run away to either of these squares. And this is how you create a checkmate. I am going to show you another example of a checkmate. In this position, we have white to move. That means one of these white pieces can move to checkmate our opponent's king in one move. That means we could finish this game in a single move. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to move a piece. So let's look at this example. If I move the queen down there, I'm going to ask myself the two questions. Question number one, is the king in check? As you can see right here, the queen is attacking because the queen can move side to side, up and down, and diagonal. Is checking this king, and the king is in check. So we have question number one down. Now question number two, can the king get out of check? Let's look at it. The king cannot move to this square because of the queen checking the spot. The queen cannot move to this square because the queen is still checking the spot. And the king cannot move to this square or this square because two kings can never be right next to each other. However, the king could still run away. Even though if the queen could still come up here, we're just going to go back and forth. So do not make a mistake that you can actually win the game in one move. So what is a checkmating move in this one? The checkmating move is going to be queen to d2. Now queen moves right next to the king. Question number one, is the king in check? Yes, the queen is directly right next to the king, is in check. Now the queen is checking all these squares around the king. So the king cannot move. The king cannot move here, 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 or here. So how about this? How about the king just capture this queen? If you guessed it, the king cannot capture this queen because two kings cannot be right next to each other. Two kings can never be right next to each other. A king cannot capture a piece that is guarded. So this queen is guarded by the king. A king cannot capture a piece that is guarded. And this is a checkmate. In this last example of a checkmate, we have white to move one of their pieces to come here to try to checkmate this black king all the way over here on g8. So what is the winning move in this? I'm going to leave 10 seconds on the clock. Okay, if you guessed bishop moves to g7, let's ask ourselves those two questions again. Is the king in check? As you can see, question number one, is the king in check? The bishop can only attack diagonally, and the king is not in check at all. And one important thing is that bishops, if it is on the black square or on the dark squares, and the king is on the white squares, the bishop cannot ever check a king on a different color square. So even though if you move this here, we're going to draw the lines right here. I'm going to show you the attacking lines. The bishop is not even attacking the king. The king is only up and down from it. So the next possible move that we can try to do is this. Rook to g1. This is a checkmate. Now rook to g1, we're going to draw the line of attack right here. Question number one, is the king in check? We say yes, the king is in check. Can the king just get out of check? So question number two, can the king get out of check? How about this? Can we just move this rook right here just to block it? No, the rook cannot move diagonally at all. The rook can only move side to side and up and down. So the rook cannot even try to block this check. How about this? The king just moves over to this side. Well, if you guessed it right, the king cannot move here because it is being attacked with the bishop all the way down here. So I'm going to draw a line showing the line of attack of the bishop. I'm going to draw the line of attack for the king. The king cannot move away out of check. The king cannot block its way out of check, or the king cannot capture this rook to get out of check. So there is no way to get out of this check. So question number one, is the king in check? And question number two, can the king get out of check? No way. The king, it cannot run here, or jump over this rook to run here. So this here is a checkmate.